In this episode, we're talking about menopause. And I know a number of our listeners are men, and men are thinking, nope, I need to go to another episode. And I get it, but this topic can be awkward, but I really hope you stick around. There might be some clarity provided here about the female experience, and who doesn't love a man who can learn and sympathize with others as they embrace change. So please stick around. It's just not that scary.
Welcome to Free Range Flock. We were once the latchkey kids who came home to an empty house after school. We were feral, resilient, cynical, and innovative. Older than Google. Our teenage faces were never posted on social media. The internet was just an idea in our youth. Now we are older, wiser, and thriving. Our independent ways will continue to serve us. We plan to keep defying the odds, and we will carve our own path. With grace, with humor, with joy. Our way. We've been through some stuff. We will continue to keep pushing, and we are not going anywhere. The former latchkey kids are now the free range flock.
So, Sass, what comes to mind when I say the word menopause? I feel like a big drama laying it out there. And I'm not that actress. I can't do it. So
Menopause. Hot flashes, to be honest. That's been probably one of my biggest struggles with menopause. That and menopause brain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got both of those. For me, it's also the hot flashes, like the sudden, I heard a woman call it power surges, and I'm like, yes, that's right. It's like suddenly, trying to describe it is like, I heard someone say, when you ever open a hot oven, and you have that sudden flood of that 400-degree oven, that's what it feels like. Like suddenly it's like, boom, and I'm shedding clothes as fast as I possibly can. So that's what I think of when I hear it.
It's like a little sun on the inside.
On the inside. And I was actually having a parent conference, and my son was there. He's like, Mom, all of a sudden your face turned red. Were you getting embarrassed? I'm like, no, son, that was a hot flash. I suddenly, I could feel it coming up from my gut all the way up to my head. And I try not to, if I don't know that person that I'm talking to, I try not to acknowledge it. But I'm literally trying to how can I get this sweater off without not looking like something's wrong with me? But yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. But menopause is actually a fact of life for women, typically in their late 40s to 50s. It's typically associated with women's menstrual cycles when they stop. So that when they say stop for a year, that's called menopause. And it can be very erratic. As you and I both know, they stop and they may start again, they come back. I think that happened to both of us. We thought, I'm there, I've crossed the finish line. And then suddenly, boom, it happened. I have a friend, Jen, her 11th month in, on her birthday, her period started. And she called me, she's like, can you believe this? I can't believe it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. But yes, I refer to it as crossing the finish line when it comes to our menstrual cycles. But every woman has her own unique experience. But it's lovely that now that we all seem to be talking about it so much more openly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Oprah. Oprah's now got this whole series where she's talking about the realities of menopause. I love it.
I think it's great. And I think because it's a reality, and if you're lucky enough to live long enough, most women are going to go through it. Even if surgically, because you can have surgical menopause as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But at any rate, it's something you have to deal with, so you might as well talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. And our boomer parents and even the older generations, they never talked so freely about it. So it's very interesting to watch. I'm living in a good time. I like that we're living now where we're going to talk about that. I'm sure we remember shows when women talk about having what they call the vapors. When I mentioned that to younger people, what are you talking about?
Having the vapors?
The vapors. But, then it was something you just didn't even talk about. But now it's so free and lovely. But when we talk about it, it's so negative. A lot of negativity. Women like to talk about the symptoms that they're having. But the reality is that there is some upside to menopause. There's some benefits to menopause. So I thought it'd be helpful if we could actually talk about what is the upside of menopause.
That sounds great.
Believe it or not, menopause is not all doom and gloom. Sure, you Google menopause and you'll see pages upon pages of side effects and all these negative things that we expect during this time. But we want to focus on some of the things that are actually working well for women in menopause. So how about just the beauty of not having a period?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I didn't think that would be so beautiful. Like, I really didn't mind having a period. I mean, I know a lot of people struggle with their menstrual cycle. I started my period when I was 13 years old. And yes, I had cramps, especially when I was younger. I feel like that is a normal experience when you first start your periods. But I wasn't debilitated. Like, so many women had such terrible symptoms during their periods, and I luckily didn't have that. The worst I had was headaches. But it's like, now that I think I'm almost to actual menopause now. I'm afraid of jinxing myself, but it's like, I think I'm almost there. It has been such a relief to not have to worry about, am I going to start my period today?
Yeah. Oh my God. I started my period. I was almost 16. I was a very late person. In fact, my mom was about to take me to the doctor and say, what's wrong? It hasn't started. And it turns out I was someone who had really painful periods, like especially like every other one. I would have like a really painful period. I hated my periods. I felt traumatized. I had several accidents at school and at work. I felt traumatized by it. So I never had like my handle on it. And then I went through this bout of fertility where my doctors were trying to control my cycle, making me have more periods. And just when I think of that whole thing, it's not a fun moment. And so not having it is so, like, I remember it was recent. I took all the feminine hygiene products out of my purse. I was like, I'm going to walk around without preparation. And that was so freeing. Oh my gosh. And like, not that I wear a lot of white pants, but I can wear white pants whatever I want. It doesn't matter. And I'm sure men are like, what? But if you were on your period, you would never, I would never wear white pants because that's just, that's a no-no. But yeah, just that freedom. Oh my gosh, it's lovely.
It really is. And it's expensive and it's messy.
Yeah.
And yes, I know it's natural. And like I say, it never bothered me that much to have it, but not having to worry about it, being able to wear, sorry, y'all, too much information, wearing whatever underwear you want to wear, not worrying about whether you're going to stain your beautiful favorite pair of underwear.
You had certain underwear just for your periods.
Really, seriously.
Yeah. You never wanted a boy to see that, by the way. You never, that was not what you would wear with your boyfriend or husband.
That's my period drawers.
No,
I'm not going to wear those.
We said period drawers out loud. I can't love it. Wow, I love honesty and getting in your 50s. I love it. I love it. Just things you thought you'd never say out loud.
One of the things, though, that I think is really interesting is the things that have come up for younger people, like those Thinx panties.
Oh my gosh.
If they'd had those when I was a kid, oh my Lord.
I don't understand what's happening. Are you just bleeding on yourself? What's happening? Are they just free balling it? What's happening?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, so it's the underwear it has absorbent capabilities, and so you just wear them and it absorbs the blood, and you is that not the weirdest thing?
I cannot wrap my mind around it, and I'm sure if anyone like is in their 20s has stumbled on this episode and like listening, going, what are these old crones talking about? We don't understand what's happening, and I'm like, is it all like chemicals doing that? Like what's happening? When you take it, when you go to the bathroom, like when you take it down, what's happening? Is that like a flood? I mean, what's happening? Like, I don't understand. And you see these commercials and you see they're so happy with these panties. And I'm like, you don't have to do anything else but wear these panties. Y'all, I don't understand, and I don't have to understand. I have a son, and that's okay. Y'all have to explain it to me. But God.
No, I want someone to explain it to me. And do you really like it? Like, I have a friend who has a young daughter who's in her early 20s, and she loves them and won't wear anything else. She won't. She doesn't wear pads anymore. She doesn't wear tampons. She only wears these things. Which it's great, but I just, like I say, I can't wrap my head around it. And I swear I wish they had those when I was a kid.
Now, if you remember, speaking about these infamous products that exist now that didn't exist when now we're thinking, dang, where were they when we were young? Those cups that they put up into their vagina, and then it holds on to, and then all the men are like, oh, we're out. Sorry, I'll end this quickly. And so when I had my period stopped and then slowly started, I'm like, well, Sara, I'm going to try these cups. I'm going to see what these young women are all rage about. I wasn't going to do the panties. That sounded nasty. I couldn't do it. But I did the cup and I tried it and it works. But when you pull it out, it makes this sound. It makes this pop noise. And I swear I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, did my vajayjay just make a pop noise? Did I just pop down there?
I was totally unprepared for this conversation.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And luckily, I didn't have to, my period stopped after that. I think the universe just went, let's just try one more whammy on her. Let's let her have this. And I just could not stop laughing. I was just like, that's hilarious to me. And I'm looking at my phone. My phone's now listening to me. I'm like, what's going to come up now? But oh my gosh, it did. It made that pop noise.
That is hilarious.
I'm just wrapping that back up, that answer back up. We're just glad that we don't have periods anymore. That's one of the big upsides of menopause.
Definitely.
And so one of the other upsides of menopause is the whole PMS thing. I'm glad to be done with that. That whole you suddenly you have those moments, and men know what I'm talking about. Those days before the period starts where we're all a little bitchier and we eat chocolate and we're crying and we have headaches, and I had cramps a lot. So I am so glad to be done with that life.
Yes.
So glad.
That was probably one of my bigger struggles as far as the PMS thing, because before I went on the pill, and I was on the pill for a long time because of this, it helped with my emotional regulation because my mood swings would be so broad in the 2 weeks before I started my periods. So the whole not having PMS, not having cramping, not having, being a raging bitch, for 2 weeks out of a month.
That was that's so lovely not to have that. Just, I don't miss that. That's just...
Oh, I don't miss that at all. A lot of times people like to judge women for having these emotional swings and the hormonal stuff. And it's like women can't do this or can't do that because they have these emotional mood swings or because they menstruate once a month. And it's that's ridiculous. We're able to do all the things that we are normally able to do and manage all of these things that are happening to our bodies. Yeah. So to me, I just wanted to address that and say, I love not having those weird emotional mood swings at this point in my life, but that doesn't mean I wasn't able to function as an adult. Oh yeah, because I had them. Yeah. Because a lot of people make fun, I guess, of that part of being a woman,
or they use it as a way to put you down. Yeah. Are you PMSing? And are you kidding me? Natural biological function. You're just going to make fun of me. Come on.
And I'm sorry, men have them too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, they do. Oh, that's a whole other episode.
That is a whole other episode.
Also, if you're not having periods, you can't get pregnant. I know there's some women who are deliberately trying to get pregnant, or, they're actually really having periods or whatever. But for the most part, most of us, if we're done with our cycles, we cannot get pregnant. And it changes the whole sexual experience. You're not worried about getting pregnant.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And it is very freeing as far as you don't have to worry, the whole birth control thing. Yeah. You don't have to worry about taking a pill. You don't have to worry about whatever birth control method you prefer. I will say, just safer sex.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're with a monogamous partner, just make sure you're still
Wrap
using
that rascal. Wrap the rascal.
Exactly. Use that little love glove. But at the same time, it's a very different experience because you don't have to worry about getting pregnant unintentionally.
Yes. And also and my favorite, the confidence.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes. I mean, yes, my body is changing in menopause, but I don't know, but I will say stuff that I would never have said before. This was sheer confidence because, I don't know, I just feel more confident in my body right now. Just being older. Yeah, I got the wrinkles and whatever, but I don't know. I feel that confidence right now. And I think that needs to be celebrated as part of the upside of menopause. When you get here, you feel more, you know who you are. I know who I am right now.
Exactly. I mean, it really does make a huge difference. I'm not impacted as much, but other people think.
Right.
It's like, I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am. And if you don't like me, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't worry about it nearly as much, which when I was younger, I think I did worry about it.
Right. Like I wanted everybody to like me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I will tell you some truths. I will ask a lot of questions, and that's too much for you. I'm sorry. You got to, be able to handle this ride. If you can't, it's okay. It's like, this is who I am. And that, we talk all about the bad things that come with menopause. That's one of the great things. It's
it
just,
is.
you know who you are now.
Definitely.
You feel at home in your skin.
And I like myself a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like myself a lot when I was younger. And I mean, that's sad, but I think a lot of people tend to do that. And that whole imposter syndrome and thinking that you're not good enough or whatever. And I think the older I get, the more I realize I'm worth listening to. I know what I'm talking about in my field. I have confidence that I would never have had at 25.
Right.
So yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, that part of getting older is just amazing. And I just wrote something down because I wanted to not forget it. Menopause brain.
Menopause brain.
Which is, there's been some really interesting changes in my body since I have gone through menopause. And I wanted to ask if you've gone through any body changes since you started menopause.
Some I won't share out loud.
Oh, you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm going to be, I know the world is listening. I noticed that I remember when I was younger, I would have to shave my legs constantly. I was everything was growing so fast. Oh my gosh, I gotta shave again. I might shave once every other. I might shave twice a month because my hair's not growing as fast.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and I say that because it's the same thing's happening to me. I've noticed that I don't shave as often, and then what hair does grow back on my legs and under my arms is very fine.
Yeah.
Versus much thicker and coarser when I was younger. Another thing for me has been a change in my hair. When I started going through menopause, perimenopause first, and now what I think is menopause, my hair was straight when I was young. When I was very small, my hair was curly. And then when I went through puberty, it got straight. It was wavy, but it was mostly straight. And now, during the pandemic, I cut my hair super short. And then as it's grown back out, it's now wavy and curly in places.
Yeah.
And it's who is this and what is coming out of my head?
I remember because during the pandemic, we would, talk to you. But when I saw you in person for the first time, oh my God, where did these curls come from? It was amazing, the transformation. So it's your hair is this is me now. I'm going to do this now.
Exactly. It was really interesting. And I think it has to do with the hormonal changes in your body. And I did some research on it because I was what's happening is there something wrong with me? Why is my hair changing so drastically? And it can actually happen with hormonal changes. It can happen during chemotherapy, things like that. Sometimes traumatic illness, other kinds a severe flu or pneumonia can make you lose your hair and it may come back differently. So there are lots of different reasons for your hair texture to change, but that's been a huge one for me.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that, but that makes sense. Yeah, just completely changed.
Another thing, and this I'm going to veer into complaining just a tiny bit.
Don't.
But just a tiny bit. It's just dry skin.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been a real challenge for me, which no one told me about that part.
Oh, we have like the industrial strength size bottle in my house of lotion, and I'm constantly like putting lotion on. Yeah, I have seen that, but I mean, I'd rather put lotion on than have to deal with my period or PMS.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Any day.
Me too. I mean, there are a lot of symptoms and things that happen to you, when you go through this change. But when you come through to the other side, almost 100% of the women I've talked to who have gone through this process say that they would never go back.
Yeah. So when you're here, I love that we're all talking about menopause. It's lovely. And you hear the complaining. Just know that there's also some upside too. There's some upside to menopause. It's not all doom and gloom. So for many of us free rangers, our mothers may never have talked openly about menopause because generations before that never really talked about it. But now we're living in times where it seems like everyone's talking about it. Lots of, even Oprah Winfrey's up there talking about menopause, which is so lovely. But we tend to, in my opinion, dwell too much on the negative, and we don't talk enough about the positives that we get. So
Definitely.
We have talked today about the upsides of menopause. Did you have your favorite thing, Sass, about the great things about menopause?
I think I'm going to go back to the whole confidence and, knowing who I am. That's been huge. And then also just the mood swings. Not having to deal with the mood swings has been lovely.
For me, it's also the confidence, but it's also not having a period. I mean, it's just, I've been wanting to be on this side of things for a long time because my period has been much more traumatic and that full of issues and fertility and all that. So not having a period just feels so freeing and not having to worry about that. I'm still greatly confused about how women are doing it now, and y'all are welcome to educate us about the realities of those products because we don't quite understand, and plus they're not being marketed to us, so we're not privy to that information. So, which is fine, but we're not sure why you guys are using those, but. I love not having a period, and that is so lovely. Yeah,
definitely. I think that menopause can be a celebration instead of, some sort of... I think we look at it like this event that happens to you and that your life goes downhill from there. And I think it's more like a transition and a celebration of becoming that crone that we were talking about. I don't know if it was in this episode or a different episode, but being that wise woman.
Right.
And I think we need to celebrate that.
You're making me think, Sass, about, because in my mind, I know the month and the day of, if I hit that, I'm officially in menopause because it'll be the 12 months. So I'm still like journeying close to 12 months. I think I'm going to have a celebration. I think I'm going to plan something. I don't know what. Maybe I'll like burn my feminine hygiene products. Or maybe I'll donate them to a homeless shelter. Maybe that would be much better, But I want to do something to celebrate that day because that's a big day, and it probably won't be a public thing. Sorry, y'all. Public, you won't be invited, but maybe I'll just have some kind of like pull my girlfriends close and just say, "Hey, yo, I'm officially here," and just because it's worth celebrating because so many women don't get here.
Exactly. We have to celebrate getting older
Definitely.
And all the stages that incorporates. So if you haven't joined us on our social media platforms, please check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok. And we'd love to hear what your thoughts are about menopause. What do you love about it, if you've gotten there? And if not, what are you looking forward to? Thanks for listening, y'all. Thank you for joining us for Free Range Flock. Our goal is to inspire and celebrate who we are, the Generation X kids who grew up and decided to do things their way, with grace, humor, and joy. This has been a production of Sassy Am. If you want to learn more about our podcast, follow our blog, share your positive insights about being a free ranger, or to suggest topics or guests for future episodes, please visit our website at sassyam.com. That's SASSAYAM.com. Keep pushing.